Hey everyone, thanks for joining. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to work with views and also create columns in your views that come from related tables. That's something that a lot of developers don't know how to do. So I want to make sure that the community has that knowledge available to them. So let's go ahead and open up our global solution, and we're going to work with our contact table since that's been the theme for the last couple of videos. And what we'll do is we'll take the active contacts view. Let's open that up, and I'll make this large. So right now the active contacts view out of the box is full name of the contact, email address, whatever their parent company name, if any, and the business phone for the contact. Let's go ahead and go over here and take a look at some of the common tasks that are available to us. So first and foremost, you can take any of these columns, click on them, and move them around with these arrows left and right. So you can just move them around as needed. You can also double click on any column and change the size. So you can make it larger if you want, like in terms of pixels. You can make it smaller, etc., etc. So pretty straightforward stuff there. Um, in terms of the view properties, this is literally just the name of the view. You can also provide a description here for your view so that you can tell your users what the purpose of the view was in the first place. So one of the things that I recommend a lot of the times to my clients is, you know what, create a copy of your view, so that if it's a out of the box view, you don't mess with the out of the box view. Some people like the out of the box view. Because I'm in a trial environment, I don't care to mess with the existing out of the box view, so I will. But normally, best practice is to make a save as of this view, call it whatever you want to call it, and then either disable this view, like hide it, deactivate it, or keep it. But just make sure that you try to avoid um, modifying existing out of the box views unless the customer actually really does want to use those views and modify them as part of the requirements. Um, you can add custom controls, things like, for example, you've got all sorts of things here. You've got PowerApps grids, Kanbans, um, card feeds. You don't see a lot of this getting used, but they are here for you to leverage. So Microsoft has given you the ability to add controls into these grids for the views. So for now, we're just going to work with the traditional view. And then edit filter criteria. Let's just take a look at the filter criteria for active contacts. What it's doing is it's looking for the status of the contact, which is on the back end called the state code, is equal to active. If the contact is active, then that means that this contact is still going to be visible in the database. It's not going to be hidden from the users. And we're going to be able to interact with that record and edit it and make different changes, um, things like that. Let me go ahead and close my door there so I can, you guys can hear me a little bit better. And then, so that's the filter criteria. Obviously, you could extend upon this. There's different fields on the contact record as well as related fields based on relationships on different entities that you can leverage to create some really, really elaborate filter criteria on your views. For now, we're just going to go ahead and tinker with the columns. So let's go ahead and add some columns here. And I think it'd be valuable for us to add something like the rollup fields that we just recently added, and also the created on date of the contact, the modified date of the contact, the owner of the contact, and then the rollup fields that we created recently for our custom entity. So how many phone interviews did they have? How many standard interviews did they have so far? How many technical interviews did they have, or whatever? So let's go ahead and add those on here. And then what we'll do, a little massaging. I usually move these created on fields and modified on to like the end. And then what I'll do is I'll clean up these fields. I'll open them up and then I'll make them a little bit larger. so that you can actually read the text. You can see I'm changing it from 100 pixels to 150 pixels. Notice you can actually call a JavaScript library here if you wanted to on the column, and you could call a function. Um, don't see that very often, but you certainly can do that. So this is our new view: full name, email, company name, business phone. This view is really only going to be useful from the context of my contact in the system, so Alex. But I'm just going to show you what it looks like, and then we can go from there. So let's save and close. Let's go ahead and publish just our contact entity because that's the only place we made changes in. And then, of course, here's that record where we had our roll-ups, right? We had 6 phone interviews based on the data that we provided, all just dummy data, standard interviews, technical interviews, whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and empty cache, hard reload. And then I'm going to go to contacts, and then I'm going to switch over to active contacts so that you can see that new view in action. And this is how you would do really any view. And we'll go into filter criteria and advanced complex filter criteria in another video where you can see how we can do some relationality to see a view based on another table. So like a contact view based on, um, you know, based on how many phone interviews, they had only, something like that. So if I go to contacts and then I go to active contacts, here's my view. And you can see that the only record that actually has any data is this one for the total phone interviews. But these are roll-up fields, and it's really nice that I can actually expose roll-up fields inside of the columns of the view. But this record right here is the one that we just modified. You can still interact with it. You can move things around. You can go ahead and, export this entire list to Excel if you want to. Obviously, if I open up the record, I'm back in here. I can go back to these job applicant statistics and see how there's parity here between the data that's being represented in the actual view itself and the actual data that I'm representing inside of the view itself. So that's all there is to it. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you so much.